What is going on, everybody? My name is Nico and welcome back to another Nintendo Switch video. This is something that I decided I needed to do. If you've been paying attention to the background of my videos, you've noticed that I picked up a Switch OLED as of late. And if you follow me on Twitter, you would have seen I've been posting about it. But I finally bit the bullet and picked up a Switch OLED, which is something I didn't really think I was going to do because just last year when they announced it, I had just got myself a new Nintendo Switch. This was just the updated version. My base model was getting a bit old, getting a bit janky from all the hours I've been putting in on it. I decided I'd finally pick up one of these bad boys, the Switch OLED, because I just, for one, thought, I want to have a more powerful Switch. And not in the sense that I want to play it, and have better performance, whatever, but I wanted it just to look better when I was playing handheld. Lately, I've been working a lot, and just climbing into bed and playing the Switch while I've been laying in bed has been something I've been doing a lot lately. So I really wanted to just have that better screen. And honestly, I really was kind of disappointed when they announced the OLED because I genuinely thought that there wasn't like enough of a difference for me to care. But between the two screens, there's genuinely a lot of size difference. That was the big thing, is I just didn't think there'd be a whole lot of difference in the size of the screens for these two devices. But I was completely wrong about that. The size difference is actually quite dramatic if you hold them side by side and look at it. It's quite dramatic. The OLED is significantly larger. Just the colors pop a whole lot more. It's just a lot better looking console. So today, basically what I want to break down is whether or not I think you should be buying a Nintendo Switch OLED in 2022. I think that's a really important question because there's a lot of rumors about the Switch Pro and everything, and a lot of people think that that's on the horizon, and I think it's important whether or not you're going to spend the $350 on your Switch OLED or you're going to just stick with your base Switch model until something better comes out. I want to talk about that. So like I said, the first thing that just really stands out is just the size difference. They're the same form factor. If you put them together, there's just a slight thickness difference in the OLED versus the base Switch, but in terms of their width, they're the same. It's just the screen that really stands out. The screen I didn't think would be that much larger because all they did with the screen was they took what the black was around the original Switch screen and they just pushed it out. That's all they did to the OLED, but it is a significant size difference when you're actually playing on this thing. And honestly, as someone who plays the majority of their games docked, I have found myself playing, even in situations where I normally would play docked, playing handheld a lot more because of how good this screen looks. That is simply one of the best parts of this console, is the screen looks fantastic. And like I said, I'm mainly a docked player. I like to sit at my desk and play on my monitor. That's just how I normally play games. But with this Switch in particular, I find myself constantly going in and doing a bunch of other things handheld, whether it be sitting downstairs on the couch, sitting at my office chair playing handheld, whatever it may be. Throwing in my AirPods playing handheld seems to be something that I just really like doing with the OLED specifically. Now, other stuff I like about the OLED doesn't necessarily come from the gameplay aspect itself. It does have a really nice kickstand on the back. It's the whole back of the console is the kickstand now. Unlike just the little leg you got on the old Switch model, the whole back of the console is going to be your kickstand, which I find very nice because I always thought that the old kickstand was real flimsy and it was a little questionable if you were going to ever play tabletop. It's not something I do a whole lot, but that's just something that I think is a nice addition. On top of that, we do have a built-in LAN cable port on the actual dock for the Switch, which is something that's very big. Like I said, I play a lot of docked Switch, so being able to not have to have that additional dongle plugged into the USB, which I did have for my original Switch, that's very nice. I do really like that feature. But again, you're going to be playing a lot of handheld with this guy, so that's not always the biggest trade-off. There is you're getting the dongle, yes, built into the dock, but you're going to be playing it handheld, so you're not really going to get that benefit. So it's just kind of a weird give and take with Nintendo. So now that I've given my overall thoughts on the Switch OLED, I think it's a fantastic console, and I think it's definitely worth the price point. It's dramatically better than the original Switch. It looks better. It just feels better. I don't know. Maybe it's just the illusion that this better screen gives you. It just makes you feel like you're having a more higher quality experience. And I really enjoy that aspect of it. I've been playing it a ton. But I don't think that this Switch is necessarily for everybody. I think that this is a premium model Nintendo Switch that definitely doesn't have to be purchased. I want to talk about why. So first off, like I mentioned, the only real difference in terms of how this thing plays versus the original Nintendo Switch model is how the screen looks. That's really the only key difference in terms of how this thing functions versus the original. And because of that, if you are somebody who literally only plays your Switch docked, this is not a pickup for you. This is something that you should not even consider. Honestly, there's no performance updates. There's nothing like that. This is a premium handheld Switch model. I won't say that if you only play handheld, you should probably get a Lite. I don't think that, okay? I loved my Switch Lite when I had it. I used it a ton for handheld play. However, with the screen size on this thing and the colors, the way every game pops on this thing, I would say that if you only play handheld and you have the extra money, if you're willing to spend the extra $150 versus the $200 that you spend on a Switch Lite, I would highly recommend getting this, because this as a handheld experience is dramatically better. But should you upgrade to this if you already have a Nintendo Switch? Like, if you're just going out and buying a Nintendo Switch right now, that's the thing, is you could, if you're going to play it docked, I would say just get this. If you're going to play handheld and you want to spend the extra money, get this over the Switch Lite. If you want to save and go a little cheaper, get the Switch Lite. But if you already have a Nintendo Switch, that is a very important question, because this is an upgrade. You're going to spend more money to get this, and you're likely going to have to keep your Switch if you want to transfer all your save files, because not everything supports cloud saves, because Nintendo sucks like that. So, is this worth upgrading to? I don't think so. Honestly, I'm gonna say I don't think so. If you are somebody like my brother, for example, only plays his base Nintendo Switch model handheld, battery life sucks because it's the OG model, and he only plays handheld, he's very much considering upgrading to an OLED, and that makes sense to me, because that is the market that they're hitting here. This is not for everybody. This is for people that play their Switch handheld and want that larger screen and brighter color experience. It's not for somebody that already has a Switch Lite and really enjoys it, doesn't really feel the need for a bigger screen. That's not the market. It's not for somebody that has a base Switch model and they're playing it docked all the time. That is not the market. So this is a very premium item that you should consider the variables before purchasing, because if you are only going to play this thing docked, there's literally no reason to go pick one up for $350 and set it in the dock. There's no difference in the way that's going to perform. But there's also the factor of whether or not we get a new Nintendo Switch model, if you're going to upgrade or not. And personally, I think we are on the verge of a new Switch. There's no rumors that I'm aware of. I mean, obviously everybody once a month says the new Switch has been leaked or whatever it may be. I don't know of anything significant that really makes me think a new Switch is on the horizon, aside from the fact that this thing is like 6 years old. The Switch is like going on 6 years old, and we need updated hardware for the Switch to stay competitive, especially with things like the Steam Deck becoming available. We need the Switch to get upgraded just a little bit. I don't think it needs to be dramatic. I just think we need a small upgrade to make this thing competitive still. And that's really where I'm thinking the Switch 2, whatever it's going to be, is going to get announced. I think it's going to line up more with Breath of the Wild 2. I think that is something that is very likely going to happen. We are going to get a new Switch soon, so upgrading to this model might not be the best plan for somebody if they would like the stronger, more powerful model that actually changes how games are going to play on this system. That is likely on the horizon. So that is another thing you have to consider, is do you upgrade to this, or do you simply wait for whatever the Switch Pro or the Switch 2 is going to be? There's a lot of factors here, but in my honest opinion, I really like the Switch OLED over the base Switch model. I think it's a very nice upgrade, a very premium device that doesn't necessarily need to be bought, but is nice if you have. So that's just kind of where I'm at. I still love my original Switch. We use it all the time, but it's like my permanent dock Switch. It sits in the living room. We play Mario Golf. We play Switch Sports on it. You know, all that fun stuff. We play that all in the living room. This stays docked. Smash Bros. All that stuff. This is the one that I keep with me and play all the time, whether it's at my desk, whether it's you know, in my bed, on the couch, whatever. This is mine. This is the TV Switch, okay? that's pretty much how you need to look at the OLED. And since we're at the end of the video here, I'd like to also talk about Dubby. Dubby is an energy drink that you can put it in your water. It gives 150 milligrams of caffeine, jitteryless energy that you could really enjoy. I have heard from a couple people, it is said to be jitteryless. However, if you're someone that doesn't drink a lot of caffeine, I have a buddy that bought using my code, and he tried it and he goes, wow, that gave me jitters, but I literally never drink caffeine. He's like, the flavors are fantastic, but I just felt a little jittery. So he just does a little half scoop and he says that works. But that is just something to consider. It's a really good product. All the flavors are fantastic. You can use Nico, code Nico, for 10% off your order at dubby.gg. Check it out. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you found it entertaining and helpful. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Will you be picking up a Nintendo Switch OLED, or do you plan to wait until something like the Switch Pro comes out, or are you just content with your Switch Lite or your base model? All those things are valid, and I want to hear about them. So let me know. But thank you all for watching again, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.